creators of life. Their mind is their weapon, and they all have a story to tell. Welcome to the Rose Room, because women deserve their flowers. Tonight, we have luxury floral designer Corinne Kacou-Vasilakos. Let's join the conversation.
African parents, you don't tell them, I'm going to art school.
Of course.
No, they look at you like, no. Like, I did not put you to school for you to just go pick a piece of paper, like, okay, let's draw.
Oh yeah, and we'll get into that also. So where did the love of flowers come from?
It started back in the Ivory Coast. So I was a kid, and my dad used to watch me actually pick flowers, in his garden, and he had hibiscus, and he just was eating and just used to watch me. And if I used to go to someone's birthday party, guess what? Really didn't have any interest in being friends with you. It's more like if you had a garden, then I had my sisters, and I just go pick the flowers and pick them up and just play, with the flowers. It was just that moment that I had that it was peaceful, it was relaxed, and I used to see different shapes of flowers, and I used to just play with them as a child.
Was it some type of escape for you, or was it one of those things where you just can't explain why?
I cannot explain why I was drawn to it. Even during my dad's funeral, a couple people said, "Wait, it was you, that kid that played with the flowers, and your dad used to watch you." And it was shocking to hear that from people that that I didn't even personally know, because they were older, much older, and then it was also coming from family members. And almost every outfit I had was like floral prints. It was not something that I per se like, oh, I'm gonna grab flowers. I just gravitated towards the flowers, and at some point it just went into a different direction.
Yeah, so you're a natural artist, and you ended up in the worst place for an artist, which is corporate America.
Exactly.
What was that like? What was that first entrance in the corporate America? What were you doing? All of that.
Executive assistant. I did receptionist. I did event planning. I did accounting. Everything. I was given different hats, and it was too much. You used to get emails from your boss at either 11 p.m. at night, or you're eating your lunch. Corinne, change my flight. Corinne, do this. At some point, I said no. This was not working anymore for me, or I used to know who's getting fired, because I used to work very close with CEOs. And of course, if somebody's walking out the door, because you're the CEO's diary per se, people come to you, they're like, oh, am I next? Am I next? What's going on? And you're like, I can't say. Even if I knew, I couldn't say. And I just saw people were not playing like office politics correctly. I felt it was just too sharky, just too much going on. I'm like, I'm out of this. This is not for me. And I wanted to be in a dynamic where I can run my own schedule. As an entrepreneur, I get up, I choose where I'm going, what's going on with my schedule. I move things around, and I'm able to be doing something that I love and that I'm passionate about. Because I believe if you don't have your passion, you lose it.
That's what I tell people.
You can't just, for me, I cannot just get up and just go, okay, I do need to pay my bills. I'm not just going to go and just get a check. And it's challenging, because as a florist, you're walking into a field. There are people that have been in this industry for over 20 years. They've been there for 15 years. And some people walk away. And there's so many components behind that you're just like, should I not do this? But I took a leap of faith, and I knocked on some doors. Some doors were open, some doors were shut. And I just kept going.
So what'd you do next right after that you left corporate?
Right after corporate, I went to my husband like, hey, I'm going to be a florist. And he looked at me like, okay. And just back in his head, it's more like, okay, what are we doing with our bills? Like, what's going on? Because when you are in salary, everybody knows, exactly how much you're making, what's coming in, what's coming out. And everything is more, for some people, it's more of a stability, but they're happy being content with that life. And I was not okay with it. So then next I tried the flowers, and then I was not successful. It was under Corinne's Flowers many years ago. And of course he said, I know this is not going to work. Go back and find another job. And I was like...
And you did.
I did. I found another job. I was a chiropractor's assistant, and it was a lot. I was never into the chiro field. I used to be actually the patient, and now I'm just suddenly, helping the doctor, doing, all these different things. And at some point, I said, this is too much. It became overwhelming. And I think that I was not feeling respected. And I think that as an individual, when you do work hard, your boss, they do need to acknowledge you. They need to respect you. They do need to respect your time, and also a bit of your space, because we're not robots, we are humans. And I felt at some point with this particular individual, it just was not working out. And actually, I quit. I didn't give him a notice. I walked out. I walked away.
I've done that about, I'm not even going to give the number.
No, this time around, I had no regrets. When I say no regrets, none. the way I exited, I just took my stuff, and then he thought I was coming to work the next day, and guess what? No, Corinne didn't show up, and that's what that was.
And is that when you started Blossom Delight?
That's when I started Blossom Delight.
Now, let me tell you, from corporate, what did you learn from corporate that you make sure you apply to your business or not apply to your business?
First off, I do listen to my clients, their feedback, because honestly, sometimes like I felt like that was not being heard. And a lot of people were coming, they were like, hey, I want this, I need this. But again, it was just based on the numbers. They were not being heard. They were not being treated, correctly. And for me at the moment, I said, no, if I'm going to go back and be a CEO, I will do things very differently in a sense that there is a work life, there's a family life, there's a balanced life. And of course, we are all human beings. We go through different things in our lives. If you do lose someone, I do believe that you do need to give that person grace. I know corporate America says only 2 weeks. I don't believe in just 2 weeks because you don't know what
everybody is different.
Everyone is different, and it's like you don't know who that person was to that person to you don't know. So, and what I definitely did learn is follow your passion. But however, there's a lot of things that I'm doing differently for my business. I am taking my time. Every arrangement that goes out that door, it's not just me. There's a story behind, So I'm not going to just push an arrangement to push it out the door. Like when a DoorDash person comes in, oh, I'm here to pick up the order. I'm like, that's great. But, I'm just, giving it to them like, okay, this is what this is. Remember, I'm giving it to you in this specific way. I do take a picture because that is going to someone's mom. It is going to someone's dad. I don't know who is it going to. But to me, when I do my flowers, I do put my heart, my passion into it because that's just who I am. Yeah, I'm not going to just push something out the door.
Well, let's talk about Blossom Delight, your flower business. First, how easy is the process to book, purchase, all of that good stuff?
Whew, it's a lot of work. In the beginning, you have to know what works, what doesn't work. And I had to define what flowers am I using? What are my signatures? Like, I do love orchids. That's something with me. Almost everything that I do, it has an orchid. And of course, French is my first language. So I had to make a luxury brand. And of course, flowers, as we know, with today's economy, it is expensive. And it's something that you do want to get. It's very elevated. And the process, how long does a flower stay? How long can I keep it alive? There's like so many different components to it. And it takes a lot. And you have to look at your inventory. You have to change the water. If you don't change the water, what happens? It smells.
Right.
And you have to be in touch. And you have to see also what are the trends? What are people going for? But then at the same time, you have to define what makes you different than the florist next door. And it kind of ties back in to going to art school because you're studying design. But how are your design different? How do they pop out? And that's like when I even went back to my sketchbook and I actually saw most of my drawings, they were flowers. And there's some flowers I picked, there's some flowers I had to let go. Because there's some bouquet that you're looking at, it's a lot going on. You don't want it to be busy, but then you want it to have like some type of like brand. I always use, for instance, roses. I like magenta. I do like use, different color, either red, and I like to use a lot of orchids because there's something with the orchid.
Thank you for the red that you.
Oh, you're welcome.
By the way.
Yes, it's elegance. The flower, like the orchid's elegance. It means fertility. So there's like every flower has a meaning. There's a definition to it. And then I want to make sure I do use a lot of eucalyptus. So it's like when I want someone to get it, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is different. Oh, yeah, that is Blossom Delight. It's like a signature. Like, you don't want to see this, like, at every other florist.
Now, you mentioned luxury and elegance. Do you have things that fit everyone's budget, or are you the top brand and they need to get their money up? And just
honestly, yes, in the beginning, I did start a little bit low. But because, like, now we're in a different field, of course, the economy is not the same. I go to my wholesaler. I can't do anything because, again, they'll be shipped from Ecuador, they'll be shipped from South America. So it's like, Corinne, I'm paying for the shipment. So it's going to where also, as a business owner, I understand where he's coming from. And also, he has to make a bit of profit. And I did raise my price a little bit more. But if you come to me, like, you do know that you're paying for the quality. You do know you're paying for, for exactly what you're getting. It's a luxury brand. Yeah, it's like you're not getting something, a cheap product. You know what I mean? It comes out the door. Like one of my top sellers, the Flora. That was actually named after my sister-in-law. And it's one of the top. It has carnation, pinks, it has whites, there's eucalyptus, there's lilies, there's roses. But then I elevated a little bit more. So it's like when you're getting the bouquet, it's not a small bouquet, it's a huge bouquet. And you're seeing that, okay, I see why I'm paying $95.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. There's a difference between a $95 arrangement and a $65.
Of course.
Of course, you will see the difference right away, like, oh yeah, I do want this. Yeah, and I did work with the Embassy of France, and they've known that about me, that you're coming to me, I will give you something, I will deliver the product, but you also have to understand that you have to pay the price for it, because it's something that I stand behind my own name. I will not just do anything, just push it out the door.
Right, reputation is everything.
Yes,
and
it is.
One day not one day, a lot of times you're going to get recommended to somebody, and that somebody is going to say to them, well, why should I go there? What should that person say
about
to
me?
That person? Yeah.
Okay.
What do you hope they say?
Okay, you go to Blossom Night, you go see Corinne. Like, it's, first of all, it is French inspired. It is something. It is a luxury item, and I will bring your vision to the bouquet, and I will elevate the bouquet, and I try as much as possible representing what you exactly are asking. Like, I have an upcoming wedding that I'll be doing in October. They ask for specific colors, and I'm working to bring in flowers that are still elevated, they're elegant, and they still tell their own story,
right,
of the love story. And what makes it different, like you'll be able to see, like, oh yeah, that is Blossom Delight, because there's like a little chic, a little finesse to it that you're like, oh yeah, it's refined. It's not like any other florist.
Right.
Yes, and I have a lot of competitors out there. We all know.
Well, of course, competition makes the world go round.
It does, and then it's kind of fun because then you get to see, okay, what are they doing? And like, I also do potpourri, like, and I used to sell it like crazy. And I'm going to go back to make the potpourri. Yeah. And
was there a specific moment with Blossom Delight where you said, okay, this is it. It's no going back to corporate. Ooh. Even if I have a setback, it's not a setback. It's just Wednesday.
Exactly.
What moment was that?
What moment was that? I would say the first 6 months, because it's not easy to try to launch your own brand. You're trying to put your foot into an industry that is already competitive. We're in the DMV area. We're talking their embassies. There's so many different florists. There's some that they think that they're better than. It was very difficult. But what made it a difference for me, I was like, no matter what, who was this dedicated to? It was dedicated to my dad. So at the end of the day, why am I stopping this? I started as a kid, and of course, like, there will be highs, there'll be lows. That's how business is. But you also have to do your marketing, and you have to sit down. I had to ask myself, what am I doing wrong? And I had to just think, okay, why is it in this month I made more money versus that month? What was I doing? And I just go back to just going back again to the drawing board, and I'm just like, okay, that's it. And no matter what, there've been days where it's been challenging. But I also teach at nursing home. So for me, like, when I do see the seniors, they're happy, they're making their own full arrangement. That's like, that's it. I'm not stopping this. There's no way I'm going back to corporate America.
Right.
No way. It does not work. When I get to see a resident, a senior that's in a nursing home, they're making their arrangement. They're like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my daughter's wedding. Oh yeah, I do like lilies. And they tell you their own personal story. That, to me, it is more rewarding than going to a corporate America. That's me.
That's me too. So as a teenager, I went to my grandmother once, and I told her something about wanting to start my own business.
Yeah.
She shut it down. She was like, hey, your uncle tried that, messed up his life. Just focus on getting a job so you can retire. Now, of course, this was 25 years ago when she said this. And I said that to say, everybody doesn't always see your vision.
No, they don't.
And, one of those people is your mother who didn't see that vision. Tell me about that situation. And you could go as far as you want.
Of course. Like, I love my mom dearly. Like, I do respect her a lot because she's an entrepreneur. She came in this country at 24 years old, didn't speak a word of English, had to study. And, she's into real estate. She's trying, different businesses. But I think for me, she was more about seeing me with that safety net back to being salary. Like, that's what I think my mom was more content. And as an African, again, it's like, it's not anything towards her. I think it's the way that they were brought up, especially being in the Ivory Coast. Like, you do not challenge your parents. They tell you you're going to school. You're going to go to school. I did, what I wanted to do, but I was not happy. And at the end of the day, it was like, okay, well, do I just do what she wants me to do? Be salary, that's great. Or do I follow my passion? And I did follow my passion. And that meant, like, her and I didn't talk for a little while, and that's what it was. But eventually she got to see where this was going, and she understood, and she's like, oh, this is really pretty, this is really beautiful. And actually her own friends come to her and say, hey, she calls me Coco. It's like, oh, have you seen Coco's work? Did you see her flowers? Did you see this? Did you see where she's going? Like, what's happening? And it's like, to her, I think that she understood me now. And the funny story is, my mom is great at painting. She's an amazing artist. But guess what? My grandmother did not want her to be an artist. And when she traveled, she actually got to paint. And then I actually did see her painting because I started painting in high school. And I saw this. I was like, Mom, why didn't you do this? Well, she's like, well, Mimi didn't want me to do this. Like, this is what this was. But she does it now as more of like a therapeutic for her. It's fun for her. But however, do I believe that she could have been a great artist? Possibly, maybe. But she's also good in numbers. So it's like, she's great in numbers and counting. That's her thing. That's her vision. But for me, like, later on in my life, when I do have my own children, I will tell them, follow your passion. I always tell parents, do not knock your kids' vision. It's not because you're not seeing it that you just have to tell them like, hey, don't do this. This is what I want you to do. This is the game plan. That's what that is. I'm not saying don't go to school. Go to school. But then again, school is also not meant for everyone. There's some people, they're quick learners and they're more creative, and then you have to let them be.
And how do you find that balance? How do you teach a child that balance, or teach anyone to say, look, you follow your passions, but you got bills also? What do you say to that
For
person?
me, start out small. It's like Rome was not built overnight. It's like, like Paloma Picasso, Picasso's daughter. She was not, Paloma Picasso overnight. Yes, she had a father that was in the art field. But how some of her stories started, she was picking things at a market. So it's like you still have that vision, but work towards it. It's like for me, I personally finance everything. I did not take a loan, none of that stuff. So you believe in your dream. You do continue to see, your dream. Just like I have a brother, like at the age of 4, he told my dad, I'm going to be a pilot. That's what Val told my dad. And my dad would buy him cars. Like Val would not play with the cars. He said, again, I'm going to be a pilot. Buy me an airplane. And my dad looked at him like, okay, what's wrong with this kid? Guess what? Val still studied. He went to school, did everything. But then he told my dad, hey, I want to learn to fly a plane, and that's what I want to do. And my dad was like scratching his head like, okay, fine, I will help you finance that. And he went to school. Yes, he finished, but it was not easy to find a job as a pilot, especially in the Ivory Coast. Eventually, an opportunity was open. He became really good at his job, and he just loved to, to fly planes. And you have to know what you want, go after it. It will not be easy. I'm not saying everything will be open up to you. I've had doors shut in my face. I have people look at me like, no.
They say get the nose out of the way.
And guess what? A rejection is actually, it's a whole new direction to another door. And I do truly believe when one door does shut, another door will open. And you have to be creative. And it's going back to your drawing board. When you want something, you want to be that artist, that person, you will be driven and you will literally see the vision differently. And you may have to also cut some people out of your life. And it's nothing personal. It's like you're in a different season and some people are not with you on that same vision. And it's about aligning yourself with entrepreneurs, people with the right mindset. Funny story, a couple years ago, there was an app with all the entrepreneurs. And I saw this girl that spells her name exactly the way I spell my name.
Right.
Yeah, and then I was curious, like, who is she? And, I was curious. I looked at Corinne and I actually went on her Instagram. I clicked on it. Okay, she speaks French. Yeah, she's French. Okay, what else does she do? She does event. And I was like, I want to be friends with this girl. And I literally DM'd her. She messaged me back. And we've been friends for over 7 years. She's in New York. She's an event planner. Yes.
I didn't know where the story was going.
No, Corinne's in New York. So if you guys, check out, Corinne Jacques on Instagram. She's incredible. She's in event planning. She does so many different things, like picnics. Like Corinne is literally a woman of many hats. And she's very passionate and she's very creative. And we became really good friends. Like she knows everything about my personal life. I know a lot of things about my personal life. Whenever I do need advice from her, like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this flower? She will give me the direct answer, and it's like we're there for each other. And he just took that one, that I just looked at. I was like, who is she? And instantly, it's about finding people and finding your village and your tribe. And that village, it is so important because not everyone is on the same journey as you. And I like to also be friends with other entrepreneurs. Like I have another really, really good friend of mine. He's in Canada. He's a mechanic. He's amazing at what he does. He loves being an entrepreneur because we hustle. We get up really early in the morning. We get up at 5. Like our days are different. You know what I mean?
Right.
We run around. Sometimes you just don't understand what's happening. But it's like we work hard and we still, have that time for ourselves. And we do talk about a lot of balancing, rest. There are moments where you just have to take a moment for yourself because we're not robots. We are humans.
Right.
And you have to be able to rest.
And speaking of that village, you created your business in honor of your father.
Yes, my late father.
So do you feel like a piece of him is still in all the arrangements you do?
Yes, I do. I really do. Because like I kind of see, it goes back to that story that my dad used to just watching me as a child. You know, like my siblings were much older than me at the time. But he used to watch me just put this flower arrangement, you know, just like looking at me, and he used to just stare at me. And it was really a form of healing, because it was like, for me, I lost my dad. It's been 5 years. It's been highs and lows, like everyone, you know, you lose a parent. It's not easy. And it was a form of healing, and it was also therapeutic. And, you know, and then I get to just still be me, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's a memory of him. You know, he was someone that I respected a lot, and I love my dad dearly. You know, he was someone that was an entrepreneur, liked to hustle, but he was very, very much of a family person, you know. And when me and my sibling used to fight, my dad used to always say this: let it go. Like, let it go. He's like, it is not that serious, you know, because he's like, you know, you have to always let that go. Let it go. Why hold a grudge? You know, my dad used to say, he's like, people have done things to him, but he's just like, let it go. Because that's between them and the man upstairs. Yeah.
You create flowers and arrangements in honor of your father, and then someone is going to purchase those to honor someone else, or even honor themselves, which goes to show that even if the person physically isn't here, their energy never dies. It's still here.
Exactly. And it's why I teach also at nursing homes. Because it's like, for me, when I see them, it kind of reminds me of my dad. Like, my dad was much older than, you know, he's a much older, you know, father. And it's like, I kind of like see them, and then they're happy, they're smiling, you know. And it's like, it's those little moment that it remains going back to the Ivory Coast, like bringing back of like, you know, home, you know, your tribe, your family, you know. You know, and family is not always your blood, you know. It's not like one of my best friends, like, you know, I've known her, she's Latina, incredible. You know, she works hard. She takes her family. She's a nurse. Like, I tell her, I literally applaud you, because I couldn't be a nurse. You know, I couldn't, you know, do what you do. But, you know, we all have our own calling. Find your calling, find your happiness, and be you. And that's important.
And you're married, right?
Yes, I am.
How involved, your husband's also an artist as
Yes, he
well.
is.
How
Yes, he
involved is he in the operation?
Poor Andrew. I do bother him a lot. I mean, like, hands down, if I'm not there, he would, like, we get an order. Sometimes, like, he has to FaceTime me, because I'm doing something else. I'm at the warehouse, like, getting, you know, supplies. And he's like, oh, what do you think? You know, and he will make it. But of course, like, he will make it, and yes, I will critique him very harshly sometimes, but he's very involved as far as ideas, you know. And he's like, he used to tell me, Corinne, hey, remember, you didn't make any money. Why? Because you didn't do your marketing. Go back, do your marketing, which was so true. And I test this over and over again. When I stop posting, people just don't buy. There's nothing, there's not a story, what's happening. And of course, we spent a lot of time on our phones. So he's behind it. He does a lot of things. And he was even someone that actually believed, the very first person that said, hey, here's the money. Go ahead and do your business. Let's see how that goes.
How do y'all balance love and business?
You try. You try. You really try. I mean, like, tomorrow, it is Greek Easter. You know, he is Greek. So I shut the business down. You know, I'm, you know, going to go with him. We're going to drive, you know, go see his family. That is important to him. And we're going to be with the family. You know, we do also have, you know, close family as well. Like, his dad is not too far for us, so neither is his aunt. So we just try to just find that balance of finding your family, your home. And also, there are times where I've shut the business down. We actually get, you know, we've gone to watch a movie. Because in the day, like, money is great, but life is not always about money. You know what I mean? Like, he likes, you know, to go watch, you know, certain type of movies. I go with him, spend time with them. I take him to the restaurant. And then also, I do believe in having your me moments. And those moments, I just need to get away. I need to get away. Like, I have 2 dogs that I adore, but they both get my nerves. Like, like, you know, they're not like kids. You know what I mean? Your kids can be like, okay, go away. You know, but your dog is just like, you know, he pets you. Like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, one of my dogs, like, all he does is this, like, pet me. And I'm just like, no, Frizz, like, go away. And I would just take my computer and go. Because there are moments where I do need to sit down. Like, I like to go to Shirlington, to Palette 22, because this is the moment where I get to just be me. Because I get to just not answer my phone, no emails, no texts, none of that. It's a moment I can just focus on me. Because mental health, again, it is so important. So important. And it's not a joke. And I tell people, like, literally, when you do feel stressed, if you do have to take a day off, take a day off. What's meant for you will be for you.
Absolutely.
That's just what that is.
And one more question about him. I don't usually ask women about their significant other unless they're married, because boyfriends don't count around here. What is something he did that made you say, yeah, he's the one?
Honestly, because Andrew let me be an artist. Yeah, I was engaged before to someone many years ago, but that person did not let me be an artist. And I think that you have to find that person that lets you be an artist. And he understood because he's an artist. He paints. He is amazing at what he does. So if I could not find someone that understood me, it just didn't make any sense.
Right.
So that's like when I was like, yeah, you're the one. He lets me have the business open this late, Who else would do this? So it's like he wouldn't. Yeah. Or there are times I'm like, okay, I'll pick up later, and I just go, to go to my meeting and do what I need to do. But he's been very patient. He's been very understanding, and he does do a lot of things behind the scene. Make the floor arrangements sometimes. He does write those notes for me, like when someone does place an order. I'm like, hey, there's a note. Can you write it? He will do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a team. It's
right.
a team. And I always say, if it's not a team, it doesn't make any sense, right?
I believe.
Yeah. I really believe you have to have a team because it's like, it's one and it's a vision, you know what I mean? And he supported me, and then I really do value that and appreciate that. Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Yes, to Andrew.
And we talked about people who support you. Let's circle back to people you support, because you mentioned the elderly community.
Yes.
3-part question. Why do you have that love for the elderly community? What have you done to support them? And what do you plan to do in the future to keep them in high spirits?
Okay, so I do several nursing homes. I don't just do one. It did start with one. And again, like, why did I do this? Because I had an older parent. And to me, at some point before my dad passed away, I did see that he was going through dementia. He was forgetting a lot of things. But like whenever there was a floral arrangement, or I used to bring my dad a cake that was a flower on it, his attitude was very different. In that community, I do feel that sometimes that they're forgotten. They're just kind of like there, and then that's it. And it does break my heart because, again, I'm not American. Nothing against American. My husband's Greek American. In my culture in the Ivory Coast, you really do take care of your parents until it's their last breath. It's just something that we do. I have a very close friend of mine. She took her dad in. She took care of him until his very last breath. It's something that we do. It's very different. So when I do see them, it breaks my heart. But when I do activities with them, whether it's gardening, whether it's like a flower, they're happy. Like they're in that moment of like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Even this week, I did a brand new client. Guess what happened? The women were fighting over flowers. It was the cutest thing. It was cute. It was very funny because, someone came to her, she's like, I think you have a lot of flowers. And she's like, well, no, get your own flowers. It was like, and then you get to see them, they're like, they're turning, they're just like, they're in that moment of like remembering a happy moment of their life. And I asked them, who gives you flowers? And someone said, my daughter, my son, And then she said, yeah, but now I made this with you. Now this is the expectation that I want going forward. And they're happy. Going forward with the business and the senior community, I do plan on working with more senior home, and I do plan on doing more activities, like whether it's gardening, like we're doing, or even painting, but painting a flower, because flower, it does give you a good energy and it's very calming. Yeah.
I gotta hook you up with some of my friends that own nonprofits because they like to do work in the community, and it's I don't think they tapped into the elderly community.
You have to, because honestly, like one day we're all going to be older. I mean, do you want to be forgotten about? I mean, do you want to be forgotten and just push out the window? That's kind of like how I feel. It's like people just like leave me like, okay, well, that's how they are. Like, no, they were once someone younger. They were once someone important to society. Like I had a client of mine. Guess what? He is in a nursing home in a facility. But he used to be someone that used to really manage billions of dollars of accounts. You would never know who those people are.
Right.
You don't know. Like I actually met someone that worked with General Colin Powell. And I had no clue until he brought the picture. You're just like, wait, what? Yeah, it's
and
like,
it doesn't look like him.
No, does not. Like when literally I saw that picture of the late general and that person, I was actually shocked. And then of course his caregiver said, oh yeah, he loves math too. And I was like, math? I hate math. But I have to do math, with my business too. But it's like you don't know who anybody is, or you don't know what connection do they have to someone else. And I do it with no intentions of like, okay, I wonder who my business. Like, no, I do it because I like to spend time with them, and I get to see them happy. And to me, when they take that arrangement to their room, and they're like, when are you coming back? And I'm like, hopefully soon, because it's all based on how they feel and how the director feels going forward. And I just keep on moving. Yeah.
And speaking of moving forward, you have events coming up. Tell us
about
I do. Those and when they are. And
okay, so there are a couple of things going on. So on May 1st, my flowers will be at the cathedral in DC. So I'm working with an embassy, and we're trying to, bring this project back to life, bringing it to life. And we're there, the vision's almost done. And you'll be able to see for 2 days. On Friday is the opening ceremony. The mayor of DC will be there. There'll be many, many other important people in DC. So if you want to check out my flowers in this project, go check it out, and you'll be available to the public for the following day. Okay. And then also the following weekend, that will be teaching a winery and a flower class. So the winery will be at Total Wine in Arlington, and then the flowers, you come in, you make your own arrangement. We talk about the flowers, what are their meaning, and what do they mean for you, and you get to take the bouquet home. Because it's just more of a self-care, and I also want you to feel that you are important, and then you get to enjoy the bouquet.
Cool.
Yes.
And where can they follow you, support you, purchase your stuff?
Okay.
All of that.
So great stuff. So on Instagram, you can find me under blossom_delight1. That's on Instagram. On social media as well, Facebook, you can go to type in Blossom Delight. I do come up. And also purchasing. So there are a couple of things going on. You can either become a private client, which it's a completely different. You just come to me directly, or if you do need to order an arrangement, you go to Uber Eats and DoorDash, and then you get to select whatever arrangement you want, and then I'll be able to make it for you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Last thing, you can look in the camera and give people your last words, whatever that may be. When they see a picture of you, what's it gonna say under it? All that good stuff.
Okay. So I want you to remember a couple of things. So in life, follow your passion. Whatever that is, do it. Do it with your whole heart. Just be very passionate about it, and not everyone will understand you. That's okay. Do your vision, and when you do see my flowers, just think that, again, I made this in memory of my dad, and it was also therapeutic. It was also something that I do love seeing people being happy, getting that floral arrangement. It changes them, their mood, their whole effect. So, yeah, and hopefully see you guys soon.
You deserve your flowers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hope you guys enjoy it.